Hey, BookTube Sean here. Vlogmas day 3. Can you believe I've actually done 3 in a row? um, so, as long as I get this up when I'm supposed to, that's the key point. But I'm filming it, so I thought, I've done the Vlogmas intro video. I've done a little bit of a channel update. Now it's time to finally get into some books. And so that I don't have any editing to do, I'm going to start with a good old-fashioned book haul. Partially, too, because this is a book haul I should have filmed in October or early November, because actually I went to a library book sale in late October, and very late October. So actually, I would have filmed this in the first part of November because I went out of town at the very end of October too. My wife and I went to Hocking Hills in Ohio to, because both of our birthdays and our wedding anniversary, and this was our 15th wedding anniversary, fall really close together. First it's my birthday, then it's our anniversary, then it's her birthday. So just on her birthday weekend, we went to Hocking Hills and just did a bunch of hiking and trail walking and stuff like that. It's absolutely beautiful. It was completely off the grid. Since it's weird to be at these nowadays, to be that off the grid. Like, we stayed at this bed and breakfast. It's called Ravenwood Castle, and but we didn't stay in the castle portion. We stayed in a cabin that's slightly off site. And let me tell you, you guys know I'm a horror person. This was straight. It felt like straight out of a slasher flick, and we were the only ones to have rented a cabin too. Everybody else was in the bed and breakfast proper. So, but there was no cell service. There was no Wi-Fi. We didn't even have a landline in the room. So it was like, if something happened, we had no contact with the outside world. If something were to happen, we were just done. It was just over, game over, But so when we got back, I went back to work and wasn't reading. I just wasn't feeling filming because I wasn't reading, so I never got this book haul filmed. So this is my late October library sale book haul. I am going to have another book haul coming within maybe this week, maybe this week, maybe next week. Because I do have other books that I've bought or have received. Not a ton that I've received, but I have bought some books. But if I tried to include those in this, we'd be looking at a 45-minute video, which is okay for FlossTube. I don't think so much for BookTube. But and also it gives me 2 videos in Vlogmas. Anyway, so this is the stack of books, and it's a nice stack. You can see it's almost, I'm sitting down, it's almost, it's over my glasses. So just go from the top of the stack on down. The first one I have here is Island Beneath the Sea by Isabel Allende. And Isabel Allende is an author I have been wanting to check out. I have couple others of her books, and I recently bought another one, and she's actually a prompt on the Reading Women challenge for next year, which is going to be another one of my videos. I'm going to share my TBR for the Reading Women challenge next year, although this isn't the book I'm going to read for that. I actually have her first book, and I'm going to start there. But let me give you Born on a Slave. Oh my God. Born a Slave on the Island of Domingue. Yeah, Domingue. The daughter of an African mother she never knew and a white sailor who brought her into bondage, Zorete, known as Tete, survives a childhood of brutality and fear, finding solace in the traditional rhythms of African drums and in her exhilarating initiation into the mysteries of voodoo. When 20-year-old Toulouse Valmoraine arrives on the island in 1770, he discovers that running his father's plantation is neither glamorous nor easy. Marriage also proves problematic when 8 years later he brings home a bride. But it is his teenage slave, Tete, upon whom Valmoraine becomes most dependent, as their lives intertwine across 4 tumultuous decades. In An Island Beneath the Sea, internationally acclaimed author Isabel Allende spins the unforgettable saga of an extraordinary woman determined to find love amid loss and forge her own identity under the cruelest of circumstances. It just sounds really good. Yeah, I think it's The Japanese Lover. I have. No, that might be Tracy Chevalier though. Not sure. But I have a couple of hers on my Kindle too, and I have her first book actually right over here. But that'll be in my other haul. Next is Orhan Pamuk's Snow. This is another author I've heard of recently, and I've wanted to check out, and I was saw that the library sale had one of his, so I grabbed it. An exiled poet named Ka returns to Turkey and travels to the forlorn city of Kars. His ostensible purpose is to report on a wave of suicides among religious girls forbidden to wear their headscarves. But Ka is also drawn by his memories of the radiant Ipek, now recently divorced. Amid blanketing snowfall and universal suspicion, Ka finds himself pursued by figures ranging from Ipek's ex-husband to a charismatic terrorist. A lost gift returns with ecstatic suddenness. A theatrical evening climaxes in a massacre, and finding God may be the prelude to losing everything else. Touching, slyly comic, and humming with cerebral suspense, Snow is of immense relevance to our present moment. It just sounds like a really good place to start with this author. And I honestly, I really haven't heard a ton about him. I came across some of his books online in a list or something, or Amazon recommendation, and I started looking into them, and they all sounded interesting. I've got Richard Russo's Nobody's Fool. Again, I have another one of his books in my basement, and I still haven't read him. The Pulitzer Prize-winning author of Empire Falls here gives us a moving, slightly funny novel that follows the unexpected operation of Grace in a blue-collar town in upstate New York. Sully, one of North Bath's unluckiest citizens, has been triumphantly doing the wrong thing for 50 years. Divorced from his own wife and carrying on half-heartedly with another man's, saddled with a bum knee and friends who make enemies redundant, Sully now has a new problem to cope with, a long-estranged son who is in imminent danger of following in his father's footsteps. With smart, uproarious humor and a heart that embraces humanity's follies as well as its triumphs, Nobody's Fool is storytelling at its most gorgeous. And I really just picked this up because it's Richard Russo. And I think my other book of his is a story collection, so I wanted to grab one of his novels. I have been collecting Joyce Carol's books on both my Kindle and in physical form. And again, I have not read any, but I just feel like she's an author I'm going to like. And I actually realized when I got home, there's another one in here like this, that I actually do have this on my Kindle, but this is Middle Age, a romance. In Salt Hill on Hudson, a half-hour train ride from Manhattan, everyone is rich, beautiful, and, though they look much younger, middle-aged. But when Adam Barrett, a charismatic, mysterious sculptor, dies suddenly in a brash act of heroism, shockwaves rock the town. But who was Adam Barrett? Was he in fact a hero, or someone more flawed and human? Yeah, and one of these days, I'm going to read Joyce Carol Oates. Actually, that's a lie. I have read Joyce Carol Oates. I read Corn Maiden and Other Stories for the Books in the Freezer readathon last year, and I did enjoy it. Although I only really remember the Corn Maiden novella, I don't really remember any of the other stories that were in it. But I did enjoy that. So, yeah, this is an author, and this is an idea I have, and I'm just not sure what author I want to do it with, but Joyce Carol Oates is in consideration for this, but I want to take an author and go through and do a series of reading their books and talking about them. And Joyce Carol Oates is, I keep coming back around to possibly Joyce Carol Oates for that. But I haven't really decided yet. Isabel Allende might be in consideration too, depending on how I feel about her first book. I have Vinegar Girl by Ann Tyler. This is Hogarth has published, I want to say 5 books that are retellings of Shakespeare. And I want to get all of them, but the library book sale had this one, and this is a retelling of Shakespeare's Taming of the Shrew. In this witty and warm interpretation of The Taming of the Shrew, preschool teacher Kate Batista feels stuck. How did she end up running house and home for her eccentric scientist father and uppity pretty younger sister Bunny? Plus, she's always in trouble at work. Her students adore her, but their parents don't always appreciate her unusual opinions and forthright manner. Dr. Batista has other problems. After years out in the academic wilderness, he is on the verge of a breakthrough. His research could help millions, but his brilliant young lab assistant, Peter, is about to be deported, and without Peter, all would be lost. Because the character's name in Taming of the Shrew is Petruchio, so yeah. When Dr. Batista cooks up an outrageous plan that will enable Peter to stay in the house, he's relying, as usual, on Kate to help him. Kate is furious. This time he's really asking too much, but will she be able to resist the two men's touchingly ludicrous campaign to bring her around? This is interesting because I don't see anything that would give the Bianca storyline in Taming of the Shrew. Taming of the Shrew is one of my favorite Shakespeare plays, so that's why really where I wanted to kind of start with this one. This was going to be the first one I bought, no matter what. So yeah, I don't see anything. Pretty younger sister Bunny. So that's obviously going to be the Bianca character, but in Taming of the Shrew, the plot is to marry off Kate. So, because Bianca has suitors, but Kate doesn't. But Batista won't marry off Bianca until Kate has a husband. So the plot is to get Kate married off so that one of the other suitors, Licentio or Hortensio, can marry Bianca. So it's interesting that it doesn't seem to fully follow that plot line unless I don't know. We'll see. I've gotten Alice Hoffman's The Rules of Magic. This is the sequel, I believe. Sequel or prequel? I don't remember. To prequel to Practical Magic. It says it right here. Prequel to Practical Magic. So I guess I could read this one first. I was going to get Practical Magic and read that first too. Alice Hoffman is an author I've been interested in. I keep hearing good things about her books, so I want to check them out. And I got a couple on my Kindle, I think, and the library had this one. I think there might be another one in here. Yeah, there is another one in here, so I'll do that next. And in fact, I'll just show it now. I got a Local Girls by Alice Hoffman, too. So this is a prequel to Practical Magic, which I know a lot of people love. For the Owens family, love is a curse that began in the 1600s when Maria Owens was accused of witchery for loving the wrong man. Hundreds of years later, in 1960s New York City, at the cusp of an ever-changing world, Susanna Owens knows that her 3 children are dangerously unique. Difficult Franny, with skin as pale as milk and blood-red hair, shy and beautiful Jet, who can read other people's thoughts, and charismatic Vincent, who began looking for trouble on the day he could walk. From the start, Susanna sets down rules for her children. No walking in the moonlight, no red shoes, no wearing black, no cats, no crows, no candles, no books about magic. And most importantly, never ever fall in love. But her children, being Owenses, never adhere to rules. Desperate to uncover who they really are, The Rules of Magic takes us on a dreamy, unforgettable journey, both thrilling and exquisite, real and fantastic, reminding us that the only remedy for being human is to be true to yourself. And like I said, because this is a prequel, I might be able to read this before I read Practical Magic. I was going to hold off until I got a hold of Practical Magic, but let me know know in the comments if you've read both of these. Do you think Practical Magic should be read first? I tend to be a publication order type of person in these situations because I want to experience it how the readers initially experienced if they were with it the whole time. But let me know in the comments what you think if you've read both Rules of Magic and Practical Magic. If it really matters all that much what order you read them in. And then we got Local Girls. Alice Hoffman casts her spell over a Long Island neighborhood filled with dreamers and dreams as she evokes the world of the Samuelsons, a family torn apart by tragedy and bound together by devotion. As Gretel Samuelson grows up, she is witness to the breakup of her parents' marriage, the ups and downs of her cousin Margot's search for love, the deterioration of a brother who passes up Harvard for a job at the Food Star, and emotional explosions that shatter the suburban quiet. Richly atmospheric, ultimately healing, Local Girls presents this acclaimed New York Times bestselling author at her haunting, thought-provoking best. So that's Local Girls. I hate this cover of it. There's a much better cover that exists of this, but Salman Rushdie's The Satanic Verses. This is a book I've wanted to read for quite a long time. Just before dawn one winter's morning, a hijacked jetliner explodes above the English Channel. Through the falling debris, two men, Gabriel Farishta, the biggest movie star in India, and Saladin Kamcha, an expatriate returning from his first visit to Bombay in 15 years, plummet from the sky. Washing up on the snow-covered sands of an English beach, they proceed through a series of metamorphoses, dreams, and revelations. The Satanic Verses is a wonderfully erudite study of the evil and good entwined within the hearts of women and men, an epic journey through tears and laughter served up by a writer at the height of his powers. This is just one I've always wanted to read. You guys have seen me haul this book before in a library haul, and it was the movie cover, so I'm not gonna do a whole. Yeah, it's been a long time, but this is the help. I actually got rid of my movie cover a long time ago. I unhauled it when I was cleaning out some stuff, and I did find the original cover, which I really like the original cover much better than the movie tie-in version. Abilene is a black maid in 1962 Jackson, Mississippi, raising her 17th white child. She's always taken orders quietly, but lately it leaves her with a bitterness she can no longer bite back. Her friend Minnie has certainly never held her tongue or held on to a job for very long, but now she's working for a newcomer with secrets that leave her speechless. And white socialite Skeeter has just returned from college with ambition and a degree, but to her mother's lament, no husband. Normally, Skeeter would find solace in Constantine, the beloved maid who raised her, but Constantine has inexplicably disappeared. Together, these seemingly different women joined to work on a project that could forever alter their destinies and the life of a small town, to write in secret a tell-all book about what it's really like to work as a black maid in the white homes of the South, despite the terrible risks they will have to take and the sometimes humorous boundaries they will have to cross. These three women unite with one intention: hope for a better day. I've heard really good things about that, and I've heard really good things about the movie too. Maybe Reading Women Challenge has a prompt for read a book and watch this movie adaptation. That might be a good contender for that. And this one might be too. The Lovely Bones, Alice Sebold. I don't know a ton about this book. I know the main character has passed away, I believe, and she narrates the story. This I'll just read it because I've read everything else and I'm doing okay on time. When we first meet Susie Salmon, she is already in heaven. As she looks down from this strange new place, she tells us, in the fresh and spirited voice of a 14-year-old girl, a tale that is both haunting and full of hope. In the weeks following her death, Susie watches life continuing without her. Her school friends trading rumors about her disappearance, her family holding out hope that she'll be found, her killer trying to cover his tracks. As months pass without leads, Susie sees her parents' marriage being contorted by loss, her sister hardening herself in an effort to stay strong, and her little brother trying to grasp the meaning of the word gone. As she explores the place called heaven, it looks a lot like her school playground, with the good kind of swing sets. There are counselors to help newcomers adjust and friends to room with. Everything she ever wanted appears as soon as she thinks of it, except the thing she wants most, to be back with the people she loved on Earth. With compassion, longing, and a growing understanding, Susie sees her loved ones pass through grief and begin to mend. Her father embarks on a risky quest to ensnare her killer. Her sister undertakes a feat of remarkable daring, and the boy Susie cared for moves on, only to find himself at the center of a miraculous event. Continued on back flap. The Lovely Bones is luminous and astonishing, a novel that builds out of grief the most hopeful of stories. In the hands of a brilliant new writer, this story of the worst thing a family can face is transformed into a suspenseful and even funny novel about love, memory, joy, heaven, and healing. I grabbed this mostly because it is a Bram Stoker first novel winner. And I've been collecting the Bram Stoker first novel winners in one form or another so that I can read through those awards. I keep talking about I'm going to do that, and I continue to not do it. But that is why I bought it. Two more. This one has been around a lot recently. I've seen a lot of people reading this very recently. This is, even though it's a backlist title, this is the 13th Tale by Diane Setterfield. I think maybe because her Once Upon a River? She's got a newer book out. I don't know if it came out this year or last year, but people have read that and are now going back and grabbing this. All children mythologize their birth. So begins the prologue of a reclusive author, Vita Winter's collection of stories, which are as famous for the mystery of the missing 13th tale as they are for the delight and enchantment of the 12 that do exist. The enigmatic writer has spent 6 decades creating various outlandish life histories for herself, all of them inventions that have brought her fame and fortune, but have kept her violent and tragic past a secret. Now old and ailing, she at last wants to tell the truth about her extraordinary life. She summons biographer Margaret Leah, a young woman for whom the secret of her own birth, hidden by those who loved her most, remains an ever-present pain. Struck by a curious parallel between Miss Winter's story and her own, Margaret takes on the commission. As Vita disenters the life she meant to bury for good, Margaret is mesmerized. It is a tale of gothic strangeness featuring the Angelfield family, including the beautiful and willful Isabel, the feral twins Adeline and Emmeline, a ghost, a governess, a topiary garden, and a devastating fire. I need to read this soon. Yeah, so I've been hearing good things about this recently from people who have been picking it up. And I was happy to see it at the library sale. And the last one, this is the other one I didn't realize I had on my Kindle. So luckily I only spent $1 on it, because I probably only spent $1.99 on it on Kindle too. That's probably why I bought it on Kindle, because it was on a daily deal. Forgot I had water over there. This is the Nyx. I've heard some mixed things about this, but I've been interested in it. A Nyx can take many forms. In Norwegian folklore, it is a spirit who sometimes appears as a white horse that steals children away. In Nathan Hill's remarkable first novel, a Nyx is anything you love that one day disappears, taking with it a piece of your heart. It's 2011, and Samuel Anderson, college professor, stalled writer, has a Nyx of his own, his mother Faye. He hasn't seen her in decades, not since she abandoned the family when he was a boy. Now she's reappeared, having committed an absurd crime that electrifies the nightly news, beguiles the internet, and inflames a politically divided country. The media paints Faye as a radical hippie with a sordid past, but as far as Samuel knows, his mother was an ordinary girl who married her high school sweetheart. Which version of his mother is true? 2 facts are certain. She's facing some serious charges, and she needs Samuel's help. To save her, Samuel will have to embark on his own journey, uncovering long-buried secrets about the woman he thought he knew. Secrets that stretch across generations and have their origin all the way back in Norway, home of the mysterious Nyx. Excuse me. As he does so, Samuel will confront not only Faye's losses, but also his own lost love, and will relearn everything he thought he knew about his mother and himself. From the suburban Midwest to New York City to the 1968 riots that rocked Chicago and beyond, the Nyx explores with sharp humor and fierce tenderness the resilience of love and home, even in times of radical change. It sounds really interesting. I don't know if I've ever really fully read that description. When the novel first came out, it's called The Nyx, and this right here looks like almost like a political rally. So when it first came out, without reading a description, without hearing anything about it, I assumed this was something about Nixon. But apparently I'm very wrong. So that's it. That is what I got at the library book sale back in October. But yeah, and for those who are relatively new to my channel, I want to let you know the reason I read the descriptions instead of trying to explain the book to you myself is I haven't read these. I don't feel I can. It's fair of me to, some people are really good at that. You're reading a description and summarizing it themselves. I'm not. I don't feel it's just for me that it's fair to try and describe it to you and fumble through a description when I don't know what the book's about because I really haven't read it. So I read the blurb. I read the jacket. And sometimes I'm reading it for the first time right along with you. But that's why I do that, because I just don't feel comfortable giving you a description and fumbling through a description, maybe having read the jacket one or two times, and I've never been good at putting things into my own words like that. So yeah. So that is my library sale book haul. Day 3 of Vlogmas, hopefully done as long as I got this up. Let me know in the comments if you've read any of these, especially on that practical magic, rules of magic thing. I'm really interested to know if it really matters if you read rules of magic first, or if you would recommend reading practical magic before the prequel. But any of these, if you've read any of them, let me know what your thoughts. Let me know what you're reading, what you've picked up lately. Thank you to all my subscribers. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you like this video, if this is your first time here and you want to see more, hit the subscribe button so you're sure to know when I post new videos. And I will see you all in the next one.